Morning. A little bit of an unorthodox time for a podcast. Was at the doctor's office, and it lasted a little bit longer than what I was projecting it to be. I sat in the waiting room for 20 minutes. For all I was doing was getting a shot. And they call my name. I go back. They give me the shot, and then they leave. Like, it literally took me 30 seconds, but I sat there and waited for 20 minutes after the time they told me to be there. I'm sure they were doing something. I'm sure there was something that was in it. I assume medical care is extremely difficult and tedious and stuff, so not tedious, but or maybe, I don't know. Just saying, I wasn't expecting it to take that long. Yeah, we'll take your rain. It is 93 degrees where I'm at. My lawn is dead. It's just fine. I don't have to mow it for a good chunk of time. The background music is different every episode. Do you not know what this song is? Gion and Epic Pikachu live in the same city. Sucks to suck. This is a Legend of Zelda song. Eastern Palace. This is a remix from the Super Nintendo one. This is the Link Between Worlds DS version of this song. So it fits the theme of songs that I listened to when I was a wee lad. It is not a fan-made. Nintendo would not allow it if it was fan-made. This is the 3DS version, I believe. It's the only version, ain't it? Randomizers are fun. I found a channel that does speedrunning tournaments of randomized, like old NES randomized games, and I'm sure they do more. I think they do like Metroid Prime randomized speedrun tournaments. I was like, I could compete in those. You guys couldn't, because you all suck at NES games, but me, oh my god, at those. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify. While you are making art of Zelda saving the world by spamming tables, reserving a beach to get away from all the idiots of the world, getting a girl's Switch friend code before you get her number, whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Big, fat congratulations to Falco Flyer and his wife as their son was born late last night. Super excited and happy for them. That is a joyous moment, a crazy moment when a child just comes out of your wife. But they seem to be doing fine. I'm sure, there's the stay at the hospital is always weird afterwards and uncertainty for things, but it seems like everybody's doing fine, and we're super excited for them. And we're happy, and we hope that they have a good next number of 6 weeks or so as life kind of adjusts and change to that, which seems like they're in a good situation to have a good little time there. The Direct was on Tuesday. It was a banger as far as I'm concerned. Mario and Luigi, excited about that game. Metroid Prime 4, finally. New Zelda game, which looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. It's got the same art style as the Link's Awakening remake, but the overall theme of what the game is about seems really interesting. Seems like a cool little puzzle-solving kind of thing to give you multiple ways to do stuff. I'm excited about that. All three of those games look really fun, which sucks because I already have too many games on the Switch I want to play anyways. I love playing Splatoon, but I also don't want to play it like too much because I've been playing through all the Game Boy Mega Man games. I play a bunch of the old like the old NES Super Nintendo games, but I mean there's also like tons of other games I already have that I haven't really gotten through yet. And now there's like 3 more games I want to play, and it's like, dang. Switch is fun. The Switch is probably the best Nintendo console I've ever had, just because every game I ever played is on this thing at some point. Thing's awesome. I don't need a Switch 2. Just make this thing last forever. News of terms may be of interest to the casual listener of the podcast. Low-Ink registration is still live. You have 4 hours and 30 minutes, or 27 minutes if you want to sign up. There's still plenty of time to do so. Make sure you get your splash text in on time. Read the document in the Teams with Registration Issues channel if you are confused about how to get your splash text in there. And if you do read the document, don't come to help desk and say that something's not in there, because that means you didn't actually read the document. But so be it. So be it. I can't see. Oh wait, no, there is other stuff going on Saturday. I thought there'd be a Squid Junction, but there is not. But there's plenty of other tournaments. Low-Ink's the only one you should care about, unless you're banned from it, in which case you should just watch it or play your Ludi sets. I don't know. Don't bother me none. Today we are going to be previewing this upcoming Low-Ink with my fresh top 10 teams all typed out, ready to go. If you scroll back and pause that, you could probably just see them all ahead of time. You don't even have to wait till the end to give you the top 10. I didn't do a preview last month because I didn't really have time for it, and I found time to squeeze one in between getting a shot at the doctor's office and having to go run to the bank immediately after the end of this episode and go pick up our kid, which I guess my wife will do while this is going on. Who knows? All that and more. But first, yes, I am a part of IPL and many other different individual things across the competitive Splatoon community. And I've tinkered with the idea of moving this show off of my channel and trying to partner it with something else. Maybe another org, maybe another broadcasting, Splatoon broadcasting kind of thing. Just to get onto a different channel to see if I can like help grow that channel, and also, I don't know, get like a team of people to kind of help me do things if I felt like it. But I do like the fact that this is a independent show. There's all thoughts that are expressed on the Popcast are mine and mine alone. I don't have a team of writers. I don't have producers. I certainly don't have a cameraman or anything like that. This is all me, baby. And that means I get to decide what topics I want to talk about and what topics I choose not to talk about. And the idiots in chat will either listen and tune in if they're interested, and if they're not, they won't. Fair enough. Doesn't change anything for me. I'm not here for the views or the subscriptions or anything like that. Thank you if you do, but there's no real point in subscribing. I only stream like once or twice a week. So obviously, with the topics that go on Twitter, there's a lot of things I look at and be like, I don't want to talk about that. But there's a lot of things where it's like, oh, I could talk about that. Even though it's like stupid high school drama, well, I'm going to beat you up at this place or whatever. Like, I could do a whole segment about that. And it would get a lot of views. The Popcast episodes that get the most views are the ones where we talk about important stuff or significant, I wouldn't say drama-like things, but significant things that are being talked about on Twitter in the competitive Splatoon community. I could get tons of views if I just talked about that week after week after week. I would get absolutely no respect for myself, though. But if I wanted to go that route and just talk about teenagers yelling at each other on the internet, I could. But I don't. And so it just comes down to what kind of things do I want to filter in and talk about, and what things do I just like, let's not, this isn't significant enough to even acknowledge. Obviously, with the topic we had on Monday, very important and something that needed to be covered with the whole jackpot situation. Kind of glad that we were able to talk about that. Other Twitter drama, well, I don't want to compare that to Twitter drama, but just like standard Twitter drama, nah, I'll pass. However, instances of TO abuse are topics worth covering on this show. It's not something that I always discuss every single time like an individual situation happens. I don't do a whole 30-minute segment breaking it down. Here's what happened. Here's who was a jerk. Here's how the TOs could have done things differently. I don't think it's fair to anybody just to have like a weekly breakdown of what TOs did wrong or what the players did wrong in this instance of handling those certain situations. But I do just want to give like a generic topic talking about these kinds of things, because whenever I see a whole load of people come out and say things like, hey, we got to respect TOs. Like they're donating their time. They're just doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. They're trying to make the world a better place, and you guys are being mean to them. That's not okay. You shouldn't do that. Hang with me here. But I always find those kinds of tweets, while I get the point is to be supportive towards TOs, I always find them a little annoying. Or a little bit misguided in a sense. So let me explain what I mean by that. I'm not going to dive too deep into the details of the situation that took place this week because A, I don't really know all the facts, and B, it's not really fair to bring it up because the TO has already announced that they're kind of stepping away and closing down the tournament. I will say this topic does spark from a tournament that took place on Wednesday, Mesozoic Mayhem. In fact, this was the 20th edition of Mesozoic Mayhem, which I'm pretty sure I said correctly. Is Mesozoic some sort of, is that like a period of the dinosaurs, like the Jurassic period? That would be my guess. I'm not really a dinosaur person. But this tournament has been running 20 times. There was, I guess, something that took place. There's like a couple of threads, but I read through the threads and I didn't really get what happened there. It basically just boiled down to, well, no, I don't really want to basically boil it down because I don't think that's really fair to explaining the situation. I'm just basically saying that is what brought up this topic because I saw a lot of people basically explaining their support for TOs because of some sort of situation that happened during that. But what I want to talk about is a much more broader thing along that sense. It is good to see people be pro-respect TOs when it comes to things that happen in tournaments and TOs get bashed for it or dragged on Twitter. It's good to see people come to the defense of those TOs. I'm not going to lie about that. And there's been times in the past in my 4-year TOing career where, believe it or not, I have screwed up in a one way or another, especially with commentary as well. There was one time where I accidentally called a team that is named Boreal Phoenix. I called them, during a commentary block, Boreal Penis. And that just kind of happened. And there are countless examples of me TOing where I have effed up as well. And people have not been shy pointing it out to me. Fair enough. However, let's just acknowledge a few things here when it comes to TOing. TOs have to do a lot of unpopular things. They have to do a lot of things and make a lot of decisions that many people are not going to be thrilled about. But that's the nature of the beast. If you're going to organize a tournament, at some point you have to actually do some organization, which is something Splatoon players are not very fond of, is anything that is organized at all. Timing rules are extremely important, and everybody's in favor of timing rules, as in you have 25 minutes to play this best of 5 set. Everybody is on board with that. Yes, that speeds up tournaments and we get things done quicker. Nobody wants a longer tournament, and nobody wants to sit around and play solo queue waiting for their next match to start. You know what else nobody wants? Nobody wants to be that team to where, oops, my teammate's in solo queue, or oops, my mom came in, I have to talk to my mom for a little bit, I'm going to be late getting into this lobby. Oh, the TOs are saying that because I was late, they're going to take a game off of me. Like, nobody wants that. Everybody is pro timing rules until the timing rules affect them, in which case they're like, why can't you just give me a little bit more time? Like, why? It's taken me forever to join this lobby. I don't understand why you have to be like that. Seeding, you know, it depends on what kind of tournament you're doing nowadays with seeding. If you're on Battlefy or Challenge or Start.gg for whatever reason, if you're not a LAN, seeding can be a little bit confusing, can be a little bit difficult. It is a bit of a lost art because we don't do it anymore. The vast majority of tournaments are on Sendow, and Sendow automatically does seeding for you. There's still like things you can do as a TO to manipulate what the seeds are at the end, but it gives you a good rough draft of what you should be looking for. If you're just seeding things off of Battlefy or Challenge, you're basically just, you either know what you're doing or you don't. And it's difficult to find people that know what they're doing. And it's really difficult to find people that know what they're doing from all teams one top down to like 30 or however many sign up for your tournament. It is especially difficult when players will sign up with like alt accounts or will change their name. So it's like, who is this? Or they'll sign up with some sort of pickup that's completely different. And then it's like, all right, I have no idea who these guys are. And you put them at the bottom and they complain about there's div and then or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like there's a lot of issues that go along with seeding, but at the end of the day, it can be kind of difficult if you don't know what you're doing right there. Lag. Oh my gosh. There's nothing TOs can do about lag. I mean, I think there are some tournaments that do have lag rules, but here's the secret. If your tournament has lag rules, The TO is just making it up as they go along. Like, there is no set, oh, you died. Let me get out the tape measure. Yes, you were 10 centimeters behind that wall when that E-liter destroyed you. You get a replay. Nope, it was only 9 centimeters. Or, oh, they died this many seconds after you actually shot them kind of thing. Like, you're just making it up as you go. And it's just I feel like they should replay that, or no, or whatever. That's why most tournaments don't have lag rules, because it's just, there's not really much you can do. Plus, it slows down the entire tournament to make rulings on things that you might not actually make rulings on anyways. For low ink, the vast majority of the lag issues are when NA plays EU or when anybody plays Australia. It is nobody's fault. We're just an international tournament, and people are all over the globe trying to play against each other. So it's understandable, but at the end of the day, TOs are constantly asked to fix the lag in this game, and I'm like, bro, you're opting to play competitive Splatoon online. I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is what you signed up for. This is what the game is. I can't fix it. I can ask you to, like, switch hosts. I can, if it's like a broken absolute, like the Rainmaker is like flying away or something like that, like, we can make decisions based off of that. But the vast majority of like lag and latency stuff people bring to help desk, like, there's not much TOs can do about that, but they always got to make decisions on it. And of course, our old pal Nintendo is constantly just showering TOs with new features that seemingly make things better for absolutely nobody. Gave us the alias feature, which is like a great way to hide who you actually are. It's a great way to smurf into tournaments. It just sucks. The alias feature just absolutely sucks for TOs. It took us a while to figure out how to do it, and basically we've come down to, if you're playing in a low skill cap tournament, you can't use it anywhere else. Just don't name yourself something inappropriate. Who cares? The splatter color screen. Oh boy. Now all the TOs have to get medical degrees to figure out, okay, is this thing, like, is it fixed now? Did this patch adjust this kind of thing? Like, should it be banned? Should it not be banned? Should you just opt out? Well, if you don't opt out, can you change if you opt out, like, halfway through the tournament? If you get a sub and that sub is like, hey, can I not go up against screen? Is that ethical? Could teams abuse that to be like, hey, you guys are really good at screen, we're going to, like, change our rule just for you guys and then change it back somewhere else? Like, it's always fun things that Nintendo adds to this game that TOs are just like, oh, thank you. More bullcrap to try to figure out here. And all the decisions that TOs have to make with these things, let's be fair about this. These things are all up for debate. I'm not sitting here being, woe is me, TOing is hard. TOing is hard. Is it rewarding? No, not really. I mean, in some instances it can be, but the vast majority of the time, no, it's not. The return of investment with the amount of time some people put into it isn't worth it all the time. I mean, it's still a rewarding experience, but some people really put a lot of time into it. Regardless, though, the decisions TOs make are fairly up for debate. Yes, do TOs get the final say in the decisions? Yes, 100%. But this doesn't mean that those decisions can't be criticized, or people can't complain about it, or they can't be, like, subject to debate to figure out, like, if you were the TO, how would you handle the situation? Like, nobody is immune from criticism. And I've always said this here on this show, and I will continue to say this. TO should be held to a higher standard. Nobody is being forced to be a tournament organizer. If they want to do it, if you are signing up to do that, guess what? You are putting yourself in the line of fire to have every decision you make be judged. Is that fair or not? That's up for you to decide, but I think that's a fair thing to come with the territory that you're trying to put yourself into right there. Now, how you complain, how you question things is always important. Off the time, and you'll see this in low ink this upcoming weekend, will end a match early because they're going over the time limit, and it's obvious one team took their sweet-ass time joining the lobby over the other one, and we'll end it early. We're saying, we're not letting you guys continue to play on. This team's getting the win. We're moving on to the next round. They'll come into help desk. and they'll complain. And what we will do is explain to them in help desk again why we made the decision that we made. This is final. We're not changing it. You will see that team continue to argue with us. And at that point, we'll be like, no, we're not doing this. You're either going to be timed out or you're going to stop. Or if you like go into DMs and try to continue it there, we're probably just going to kick you at that point. Like, we've made a ruling. We've explained our ruling. And we're not going to let you just continue to complain and combat with us against that ruling. We'll let you get one. Like, everybody's allowed to get one kind of shot in of trying to defend your team. I get it. I've been a captain before for 4 years. You got to defend your team. I completely understand that. But when the TO makes a final decision, we're going to stick by it. There are feedback forms, and feedbacks need to be formed. In forms. We've made the mistake in the past of having those be in open channels where basically we basically just asking people to fight us with our ideas, because like people will suggest things and we'll be like, no, the reason we're not going to do your suggestion is because like this case, or like we done it before and this is why this rule is the way that it is. It was more of like us just explaining our rules more to people and them just like doing an additional, well, your rules are stupid kind of approach. I remember this one time, this was like 3 years ago, and I talked about this on like a very early episode of the Popcast. There was a low ink where somebody thought their opponent was had a Smurf on it. This was back when like ranks were something you could see in Splatoon 2. They had like a B rank player that was like the best player on this team, and they were like, this is kind of weird. We beat these guys, but they're kind of destroying us with a Clash Blaster. And I was like, all right, I'll keep an eye on this team over the course of the tournament. That team that they were complaining about at the end of round 6 was 0-6 on the day. They finished dead last, not only in their Swiss group, but of all the teams that played in that tournament. Out of like 80-ish teams in that low ink, this team finished dead last in 80th place. The team that complained about the alt, or thought that team was smurfing, was upset that I didn't do anything about it. They thought that the team that finished dead last in the tournament was cheating, and they were mad at me for not kicking that team out because they thought they were cheating. So they go to the suggestion channel and just write this Bible verse about how incompetent I was as the TO for not allowing, or for allowing this team to continue to cheat even though they finished like dead last in the tournament. And it was like, okay, why do we have this? Like, what is the point of this? Like, that could have been something they could have submitted to where A, it doesn't embarrass them, and D, it doesn't like put me in a situation where I got to be like, no, like you're just full of crap. So like feedback forms is the way to go. And yes, we do read those feedback forms. I feel like sometimes you think, well, I submitted a feedback and didn't change anything. Well, the feedback you gave was kind of bad. It always was bad for the most part. There's been some good feedback we have, and we've made changes to it because of the feedback. That is the best way to go about actually submitting your frustrations with something that a TO does. Because yes, TOs make mistakes all the time. We make mistakes in low ink all the time. I'll openly admit that here. There's always something we can improve on for sure. Or there's like obvious things that we get wrong that we can kind of fix. However, there is one other way to complain if you don't like something that happens in a tournament. And this is the most popular way, especially with people who have a large Twitter following. Instead of going to help desk, getting a clarification, instead of leaving feedback in a feedback form, well, I'll just do it in a way to where the TOs may or may not even see it, but everybody who follows me can see it instead. I'm just going to go on Twitter. I'm just going to make a post, either berating, oh, look how horrible this TO is, or making fun of another team for rule booking them. That is something I see a little bit too often. I saw it a few weeks ago. A team was clowning on their opponent who rule booked them. The other team ended up losing, even though they were using the quote-unquote rule booking technique to try to get a win from them. and they posted a clip of them basically destroying them in the tournament. This is a Div 1 team versus, like, I think a Div 9 team. And they're like, yeah, we got them. We got them. And then they'll go around and they'll get tons of likes for those tweets. And then they'll be like, man, that team sucked. They tried to get wins from you guys by using rule books. How scummy of them. That's absolutely scummy. How horrible it is for them to do stuff like that. Those things always get tons of popular kind of likes and retweets with that. The one question, whenever it comes to rule booking these kinds of things, nobody ever brings up this question. Oh, why did they, what rule did you break? Like what position did you put yourself in to where you could be open to being rule booked? In this particular instance, the rule booking situation came down to the fact that the team in question didn't show up to the lobby for 15 minutes. It took them 15 minutes to respond in the chat to their opponent. And the opponent wasn't like, hey, can we just win this set because they're not here? Yes, we get a free win against these guys. It's going to help our Looty Divs. No, they're just like, hey, TOs, they haven't said anything in 15 minutes. Can we, like, what? This is taking forever. This sucks for us. Can we, like, do something here? That was the instance of rule booking. And then, of course, they did lose, like, one game for being that late, to which they berated the other team in that chat and then decided, well, let's go to Twitter and continue to berate this team. Here's the difference, though. Because even though now that I gave you context, it's clear that the team that was unfortunately rule booked was actually the team that was slowing down the tournament for everybody, and they are the one that's in the wrong and should be lucky they only lost one game instead of the entire set. But since they took the Twitter route, they got to set the narrative of what the situation was. They got to explain to the world, here is what's going on, and here are the facts of the case. And because Twitter is what it is, nobody asked any follow-up questions. Nobody will go and try to find other sources to figure out what exactly is going on here. They'll just take that and run with it. Wow, this tournament sucks because that team is trying to cheat and trying to steal, like, wins from this other team. That's really scummy of them. It's like, no, they're just trying to get along in the tournament kind of thing. Twitter happens with situations like that a lot. Because whenever you go to Twitter first, you decide what the situation is. You decide what the narrative of the situation is. As a young TO or an inexperienced TO, it can be always really intimidating if there is a player that you are dealing with that is either like a high skill level player or somebody who's got a lot of Twitter followers or somebody who makes content on YouTube, and you have to make a ruling against them fearing some sort of social media backlash, which is always the thing that can happen. It's tough to stand up to players like that who have clout because especially if you are someone who doesn't really have anything to kind of back yourself up with. It can feel kind of intimidating at times. But this is where it comes in with the situation that happened on Tuesday, where I didn't even see what took place, but I did see the response from everybody that was, be nice to TOs. Like, because you guys were being mean, this tournament went away. You need to take care of TOs. You need to respect them. They're human beings, all this stuff. All that is true. And it sucks that whatever happened got to the point to where somebody said, I need to step down from TOing. I need to cancel this tournament. Like that sucks. And that is extremely unfortunate. My question to everybody that has made some sort of statement in the past week that said, I respect TOs and it should be everyone else that respects TOs. We need to respect these people because they're awesome. Let me ask you a question. Have you gone to a top level player's tweet and said that same exact thing? Have you gone after somebody who was trying to farm their opponent for clout for rule booking and said that same exact thing? I doubt that you have. I highly doubt that you have, because you are probably just as intimidated by those top level players as the TOs in question would be as well. In a perfect world, if somebody were to go to Twitter and post something without full context to create a firestorm around a certain situation, A TO would be able to respond and be like, hey, that's not actually what happened. And then everybody else would be like, yes, thank you for giving that clarification. Respect your TOs. But no, all we do is just say, guys, come on, stop being mean. But you're not going to say anything to the people who are actually being mean. You're just going to make blanket statements. As the people in this chat, the people watching this on YouTube as well, did you not know you needed to respect TOs? Did you not know you need to respect human beings in general? Is this did me just saying that, like, change your mind? Like, did you just have this epiphany moment that, oh, maybe I shouldn't be an asshole? Like, did that happen because I just said that? No. Is that a nice thing for me to say? Is it is it a polite thing to say? Yes, it certainly is. Is it supportive to say? 100%. But who are you talking to? Because the people who are actually causing the problems, you're not saying a damn thing to them. You're liking their tweets. You're retweeting them. You're watching them on YouTube. You're following their Twitch. You're watching all their streams where they're dogging on their opponent. You're liking all their little screenshots. Look at this solo queue opponent teammate I had. They were horrible. Yeah, you're right. That guy sucked. You are all about spreading all of the toxic negativity around. But when it comes to the tournament getting taken away, that's when you'll stay up and be like, no, this is where we need to start being nice. This is where we can't be mean anymore. It's like, who are you talking to? I've seen several people say very pro TO stuff that have also in the past have said something like low-ink TOs are way too mean, or have liked and retweeted rule booking things. I've seen a lot of people that are missing the point of just tweeting out the respect the TO things. And it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. Now look, TOing is not for everyone, which is hilarious because anybody can be a TO. The barrier to entry to be a TO is just one thing and one thing only. Be 13 years old. That is it. You can be banned from Splat Safety. That's not stopping you from making a Battlefy account. You could be in jail. If you have access to Wi-Fi, you can create a tournament today. And all you got to do is be 13. The moment you have your bar mitzvah, you can start a tournament that very same day, because that is how old you need to be to create a Battlefy account. Anybody can be a TO, but it's not for everyone. And I'm not trying to scare people away, but I will say this. People have already been scared away. A lot of the really nice TOs, long before I even started TOing, have already left the scene and have not come back. And you're kind of just stuck with the newer generation of TOs that are like, I want to try my own tournament, like Red did with Mozoic Mayhem, that lasted 20 tournaments on its own without being attached to an org. That is fantastic. That is amazing. Other than that, you're stuck with us older, grouchier TOs that have been like chewed up and spit out many times and have seen all of the support. Hey, be nice to TOs. And then we'll turn around next week and the same thing will happen again. And you'll be like, I thought I told you guys to be nice to TOs. And it's like, all right, cool. Thanks. And we are a little bit more defensive. We are a little bit more ready to combat with you and be like, no, here's what actually happened. You're not just going to roast me for free on Twitter. That's not how that works. So let me just say this from a TO that has seen this been going on for a long, long time. If you are upset at how people treat TOs, maybe go after the people that are treating the TOs in the horrible way. Just these blanket statements of be nice to TOs. Like, okay, cool, that's nice. But don't be surprised if it just happens again tomorrow. Like, until, like, people are actually called out, or there's punishment that's being spread, or, like, put down on people that do these kinds of things. I would have been happy if Mozoic Mayhem, if whatever team caused their issue, instead of taking the whole tournament away, just went to that one team and said, you guys in particular cannot play. Everybody else that's awesome, they get to continue to play in this. And it's hard to do that because, again, we're not going to turn around and support that TO because the other ones get more clout by 20. Look, they're targeting me. All I did was show up 5 minutes late, and they're targeting me. They're kicking me out of this tournament. This tournament sucks. This TO sucks. Let's keep that same kind of energy, though. Like, if TOs are not allowed to be combative, not allowed to be standing up for ourselves, then players aren't allowed to be mean to us either. And that needs to be a balance, because players need to be allowed to complain, and players need to be allowed to hold their TOs to a high standard. But it needs to be brought down to a more sane level of things. And I think when that happens, I think you'll see us grouchier TOs kind of chill out a little bit more as well. Look at Proving Grounds. I don't do anything for Proving Grounds. The tournament runs itself. Less TOing is better TOing. We'll step in every now and then and change the score because somebody will incorrectly put down that they lost when they actually won or something like that. But at the end of the day, I see you saying that we need to respect TOs. But what nobody's really going to be talking about is that does nothing. Because I've been seeing calls for respect for a long time. But I've never seen anybody condemn a top-level player or somebody with a lot of clout for causing the actual issue in the first place. Just food for thought. Some highlighted stuff. From previous experience, how many years does a TO age the more they run into decisions such as screen, lag rules, seating, timing rules, etc.? Okay, so the more you do it, the more you like go through things, the better, more experienced you get, and the like thicker skin that you kind of build up. Low ink is extremely difficult to run, but it's not stressful to run because we've been doing it for so long. Hohen's been doing it for 6-7 years at this point. I've been doing it for 4. Brush is going to be a huge land TO at this point. Like, we got a really good staff that's experienced to handle those kinds of things, but it takes a while to kind of build up that thicker skin. All I can say to all of this is that Twitter is dumb. Yeah, that's fair. I still get on it every day, though. Sometimes funny stuff's on there. Hohen, Twitter taking things out of context and blowing things up makes it dangerous to make calls against any popular high-level teams because it could just result in the entire community attacking you, even if you're 100% right. That is correct, and I fully understand why people do not do that. But what I'm just getting at is if all you're doing is just saying, like, generic tweets, respect TOs, and it's like, all right. Like, if you're not going to hold high-level players accountable, why are you assuming TOs are going to do the same thing? Like, they get flamed just as much as everybody else. That wasn't directed at you, Owen. That's just that general. Speaking of TOing, and to move the conversation along, let's talk about low ink. And yes, low ink is going to run smoothly. We're going to have fun. We're going to host the pre-show tomorrow. The, like, in the server pre-show kind of thing. We're going to get to know you guys. We're going to prop you up. I'm going to be commentating with Knox on Sunday, one of my favorite people to commentate with because that's a lot of fun. But this is a different low ink from other ones, isn't it? That is right. We are in the cycle of the low ink wheel of life where a lot of teams just got banned. Solo Q, Zestfest, Soda, Strawberry Soda, Howdy Hat Pirates, just to name a few. The alpha bracket regulars are gone, and I already saw this statement as soon as divs came out. This low ink's going to be boring because all the teams are gone. Oh boy. Now trust me, this is nothing new. And I understand where those things are kind of coming from because like when your class graduates from low ink, like the class of 2024, you are now graduated from low ink. And you kind of look back down at the class of 2025 and you're like, man, I don't know who any of these guys are. Everybody I played with or grew up with, they're now in Div 4 and beyond. That's true. But it doesn't really change things, right? Like, we go through this all the time with low ink. And I see those same statements. Oh, this tournament's going to suck now because all the teams everyone knows are gone. Well, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, 4 months ago, Did anybody know who Zestfest was other than the team that won LSL? But normally LSL winning teams don't do that great in low ink. Strawberry Soda, did you know who they were? Solo Q, the Howdy Hat Pirates. These were all teams, if you were to watch a Popcast episode 6 months ago, you would never hear me say, other than maybe, oh, they went 2-4 in this low ink. That's great. They went 1-5 last time. They're improving. That was the teams when it was boring last time that came around. What you just need is a few times through Alpha Bracket to see who the next generation of Alpha Bracket Railers are going to be. The teams are all the teams I will mention. The Zest Fest, Strawberry Soda, Solo Q, Howdy Hat, Lush, Loxier, WD-40. A couple of them actually did win low ink. Those teams are all success stories of growing up in low level and achieving greatness. And no, I don't feel bad that they don't get one more chance to win low ink. A couple of teams try to apply for an exemption request and like, give us one more shot. Like, no, you got to go away. You had so many different shots to win low ink. You didn't do it, but you grew and you proved that you are much better than what you were when you first came into our tournament. You're ready to go away. And no, you can't just win it one more time. That doesn't benefit anybody. So let's take this opportunity to talk about the teams that are coming up next. The next batch of teams that we're going to be talking about here 5-6 months down the road as the next Alpha Bracket Railers. I don't need to talk about who's going to be coming up just right away because that's what the top 10 is for. Actually, you would think with all the teams that got banned that making a top 10, I'd have to come up with. No, I wrote my top 10 today. It took me an hour and 20 minutes. And most of that time is just coming up with something funny to say about every team. And sometimes they're not even that funny. But I will say this. The current teams that are going to be making Alpha Bracket, you already know a lot of them because they've been regulars in low ink for a while. But who's going to be taking their place when they graduate? That's right. We're going a deeper dive. Consider this maybe my top 20 teams in low ink, 20 through 19, something like that. I didn't really count out or get a specific number. Let's look at a few teams. Before we do that, I played Duel Link with a member of Solo Q once, so they're automatically cool. Well, there you go. Did you win? If so, well, you're banned from low ink, aren't you? You both can be banned. I did notice there are a lot fewer teams that have signed up when I checked the amount of participants yesterday. Is that normal after a bunch of teams got banned? No, I don't have an exact explanation for why the numbers are low. Last year, it was the highest it's ever been. This time we're at 94 teams. We'll probably get to about 100, which is still a massive tournament. But no, the numbers have been slowly on the decline for low ink in general. It could be a number of many things. Ludi isn't an issue. Like, we've run during Ludi at the same time, and like there's several teams you'll notice they're going to play in low ink, and as soon as Swiss is done, they're going to play their Ludi set for the week. So that's not really an issue. I think it's a combination of Splatoon 3 being older. We've kicked out a lot of teams in general over the course of the like Splatoon 3's life cycle, and there's just not a ton of new teams that are picking up the game for the first time. And also maybe we just, like, as a community, need to find ways to pull in some more casuals to give low ink or tournaments a try. There are still some teams playing in their first ever tournament in general this upcoming weekend, but no, 94 right now is still a lot of teams, but no, it's not usual for it to be this low in particular, but it's been like slowly declining the last couple of months. Excuse me. But it has nothing to do with, I mean, we banned like 4 or 5 teams. That's not, we do that like every month, basically. What teams are on the rise? First off, I got to give a shout out to Honorbound with the little salute in their logo. These guys played at Low Tide City, and they've been growing. They've been showing growth in their Ludi as well. I believe they are Div 6, and I'm going to project that they win their group, unless they already lost. I forgot to put down that in my notes. But still, Honorbound is going to be a team we are going to be talking about in Alpha Bracket in the next couple of months as regulars. Eternal Oblivion. I feel like I've been talking about this team before. They're Div 5. They had a close 4-5 loss in their Week 1 Ludi set against Enchanting Aquatic, not Enchanting Aquatica, which I believe is what they are right now. They made Gamma Bracket when they last played in this tournament in December, and they're playing in this tournament this time around. So I expect them to do a lot better than Gamma Bracket this time. The Peace Strikers. We might be talking about the Peace Strikers this tournament. They might make Alpha Bracket straight up this time around. Beta Bracket and Alpha Bracket experience is what they have. They are a Div 5 team. They finished 4th place in Beta Bracket back in March. So the Peace Strikers, you've never heard of them? You're going to. They've been making consistent runs into Sunday. Bagel Time. Well, this tournament's boring because he's talking about Bagel Time. What's wrong with bagels? Bagels are awesome. Especially you like toast them, put a little strawberry cream cheese on it. Maybe a little cinnamon swirl cream cheese on it. Bagels are great. I could eat a bagel just like straight up raw, just like the normal uncooked version. Especially with like cinnamon raisin, you can't go wrong with a little bit of bagels. It's always bagel time. Hyper Control is another team we'll be talking about in the future. And it's interesting because Hyper Control plays Hyper Zone this week in Ludi. So we'll be keeping an eye on that set. The winner one of that will be the most hyper team of all time. The loser will have to drop hyper from their name. That was something those two teams agreed to before they were going to play. And yes, Big Tommy and the Splats. Yes, they have a really silly name. I get it. They stole our name. It's supposed to be a punishment. They took it. But when you take that aside and you look at Big Tommy and the Splats as a whole, it's a pretty solid team, and they are improving. They're working their way up. It's going to be weird if they do win low ink, let's say like December or January or something like that, and then we have to retire that name. That's going to suck, but so be it. That would be their right to earn that. Rewind, another one of these teams that has an exclamation point in their name. They want to slap you in the face with their name. Rewind. I've mentioned them a few times as winners during the Swiss stage because they made back-to-back beta bracket trips. This is a sign of good things to come because Rewind is a consistent team, and eventually they are going to be consistently making alpha bracket. Remember, be kind. Please rewind. Hibiscus. They just lost their Ludi set to Go to Shell 5-3, but Hibiscus has always been an alpha bracket contender, and I think there was one point where they were close to being a top 10 team on my list. I don't remember. I don't have a good memory, even though I could figure all this stuff myself. Hibiscus, though, is the team you're going to be looking out for. Nightmare with a K, so like a medieval Nightmare, not the Nightmare team that was DivX last Ludi season. Nightmare started off going 2-4 in April, and then last month they flipped that around to going in, getting 9th place in beta bracket in May. That shows some growth, and usually when teams grow that quickly, you start see them becoming top 10 regulars in the prestigious Popgun top 10 list, which doesn't curse anybody. Last but certainly not least, if you've been paying attention to low ink at any point in the past 4 years, I've usually been talking about this team even before they changed their name to the Origami Dragons. I think they were the Bamboo Dragons back in the day. But Origami Dragons is a team that is going to be an alpha bracket regular that we're going to be talking about. And you're going to be like, how are we going to play in a tournament? This tournament's boring because they banned Origami Dragons. That's what somebody's going to be saying 6 months from now. They're 2-0 in their Division 6 group. They might actually win their Division 6 group going 5-0. If things work out into their favor. And they've been constantly improving their way through low ink. I'm super excited to see them continue to grow. Remember, alpha always gets the attention with low ink. I get that. That's not lost on me or you or anybody. But this is a place to grow and make connections. All those teams I mentioned before started off in low ink. They sucked. I can say that now because they graduated from low ink. I can say when they first played in this tournament, man, they were dog water. But they continued to play in this tournament. They found all the other low-level tournaments. They found connections. They found scrim partners. They were able to become part of the community. They grow, and now they get banned from low ink, and then they're like, "Oh, ooh, can I play one more? Because I just want to win this tournament." And nothing's as fun as low ink, unfortunately. Sucks to suck, or sucks to be good, I guess. I don't know. My point is, the 1 in 5 teams, the 2 and 4 teams that will go 1 and 5 and 2 and 4 this upcoming weekend in low ink. Those are the alpha bracket teams of tomorrow. And that's not everybody. Not everybody's going to move on from being 1 and 5 and 2 and 4. Some teams stay in low ink for a long time, and that's fine. That's how a pyramid works. Not everybody moves at the same pace. Not everybody gets to be top level. Not everybody gets to be low ink banned. Only a select few get to climb their way up through the ranks and able to find their way to the top. But you got to start somewhere. And that's what low ink provides. Low ink is never going to be boring, as people claim it might be whenever we ban a handful of teams. It's just new stories that have yet to be told. It's just another season. You know, just think about your favorite show. The season's over. They got a new director. You still watch it. Maybe that's a bad example because sometimes as shows go on, they get a little bit worse. Maybe that's what low ink has become. Maybe we should fire Hoenn and get a new writer. Possibility. All right. All those teams I just mentioned, exciting teams, awesome teams. Not a single one of them is in my top 10. Before we get to the top 10, let me just do one more check. Hey, Oofish signed up. Yay. Pocket full of mayonnaise. There's no way we're letting that team play, right? We got to do something about that. There's no way we can let a team play with that kind of name. All right. Just wanted to make sure. Even though registration is still up for 3.5 hours, there are teams that are not in my top 10 because they have not signed up. I don't know if they are playing or not, but they would be if they did sign up. So I want to at least mention them here before someone says, "Oh, they weren't even in Popcast top 10." Like, I didn't know they signed up. October Rift is not here. And if October Rift had signed up for this tournament, they would definitely be in the top 10. Which before it was just like, oh, that's cute that they're going to win in October. No, like they've improved a lot dramatically in a short amount of time. But they're not signed up here. Caution has improved a lot as well. I'm looking at what they've been doing in Ludi. They look very impressive so far this season. They're not signed up for this tournament. Neither is the Black Squid Ink Burger. Div 5 team. They finished 5th place in Alpha Bracket last month. They are not here. So those 3 teams in particular, if for whatever reason they end up signing up and play in the next 3.5 hours and they win the tournament, you can't come back and say I didn't mention anything about them. I did. I at least threw their names out there. Let's start it off, though. Number 10. I have a love-hate relationship with putting the Lost Inklings in my top 10. I love putting them in my top 10 because they are cool folks IRL. Love seeing them at Low Tide City. Well, I see them at every LAN, actually. They're at every single one. I hate putting them in because they never really finish in the actual top 10 of the tournament. They did make Alpha Bracket last month, though, which is the first step you can take towards winning low ink. This month, though, you're just going to have to trust me. Just trust me on this. At some point, their experience has to win through, right? Why not this month? Number 9. I think it will be more telling how Inkception does against Ultra Krill in their Ludi set against them this week than it will be what they accomplish in low ink this weekend. But this can be a turning the corner kind of tournament for them. They just barely missed Alpha Bracket last month, and they didn't really light up Beta Bracket when they played in it, but they are one of the most experienced teams in this tourney. They 5-1 their Week 1 Ludi opponent, and with the usual monsters banned, there is room for them in Alpha Bracket now if they decide to claim it. Now, if I have to put them in, I'm not sure if I put them in my top 10 before, but this can be a month where they solidify themselves as part of the next top 10 regular teams going forward. Number 8. The name of this pickup is All I Even Wanted Was a Roly Roly. That is a pickup team this month that is made up of players that have strong beta bracket experience before. I am 33 years old. I had to Google what All I Even Wanted Was a Roly Roly, and apparently it comes from a song that I've never heard of called Rolex by Ao and Tio. And I can't claim to be out of the loop on this. It's inexcusable because I saw the video of the song that it comes from. It has over 1 billion views on YouTube. That's billion with a B, and it is 7 years old. So, yes, I'm out of touch at the age of 33. That sucks. It happens. All right? It tends to happen. It'll happen to you guys, too, as well. Just wait. Some of you, it's already happened to. I didn't have time today to actually listen to this song. But here's my promise. If they make a portion of Alpha Bracket that I am commentating on Sunday, I will sing a verse or two from this Rolex song. Also, I've never really wanted to buy a Rolex. My phone tells me what time it is just as good as a Rolex does. Actually, a little bit better. It's more accurate. But there you go. All I even wanted was a Roly Roly. I will soon be the one of the 1 billion views that video has on YouTube. Number 7. And let me make sure this team name's confusing. Okay. Number 7. In Ludi, they are known as Enchanting Aquatic. For some reason, they decided to add an A on at the end of it, and they are now Enchanting Aquatica. This team used to be known as the Rogueport Rascals. Well, what happened? Why did they change their name? Did they actually play Paper Mario 1000 Year Door for the first time on the remastered edition and hated it? Did they not want to change their name to the Toad Town Tyrants? Or maybe they just realized, we've had some good low ink runs, but a change of name and a fresh start, maybe a few new players on our roster is all we need to become an Alpha Bracket regular like we were when we were playing consistently as the Rogueport Rascals. They're coming off a 5-4 Week 1 Division 5 win over Eternal Oblivion, and Enchanting Aquatica is ready to roll this weekend. Number 6. Big Fat Sea Cows. How come they're letting a Div 1 team play in low ink? Well, it's technically true. They are Div 1 in the CCA. They did make top 4 in low ink before. They are experienced. They just swept their Week 1 opponent in Division 5, and their motto revolves around not letting love get in the way of their gaming. To which I say, why not be a little bit greedy? Why not have a love life and be a gamer? You can have both. Life is too short not to try to get both. Be a little bit greedy there. They've struggled to get back to the top 4 standings they had in the groups to single elimination format, but the path has been cleared for them to make a return to Alpha Bracket and do some damage this time around. Number 5. You know that scene in Harry Potter where his friends all get named basically super hall monitors or like prefects or whatever, and he is left out? All of his friends get a special award and he doesn't get one. That's probably how Blake Spruder felt when they saw all of their alpha rivals slip into Division 4 and they were left out in the cold of Division 5. And yes, I know they lost their Week 1 matchup against Pranksters, but Blake has always been most of the time have been a strong team at low ink. They've made podium before. I just question how they'll handle the expectation now of like, okay, you're the old man hanging around. You were supposed to leave with everybody else, but you're still playing in this tournament. Can they hold off the young guns and win this tournament? We'll see. Number 4. Cherry Bomb is the model of consistency in low ink. Here are their recent placements. 9th in May, 5th in March, 9th in February, where they dropped, in February they dropped before their match against the Big Fat Sea Cows in that ultimately getting ninth place. All of those alpha bracket, by the way, honestly kind of makes me wonder why they didn't slide into Division 4. But Popgun, you tell us. You're on the seating council. Yeah, I already forgot all that stuff on the seating council, all right? I don't remember. Cherry Bomb will make us all realize how strong they really are with their performance this weekend. Bet 3 strong finishes in Alpha Bracket. Why not make it one final finish here in Alpha Bracket by finishing first place? Number 3. At number 3, I got 7, 8, 9 because they got 5th in the 5th month of 2024. They are the only one of 2 teams ahead of 7, 8, 9 that I would put ahead of them, but mathematically speaking, they are a top 3 team because of who is left. They lost round 1 of losers last month, though, having to win 3 loser round matches before getting eliminated by Zestfest in a game 3. So a stronger start to Sunday should help their chances of making podium again. Number 2. I won't break down Ludi seating discussions the council had about every single team. But I will say that Clairvoyance was thought of very highly in the ranks of Division 5. And for good reason. They finished 3rd last month in Alpha Bracket. And they 5-0'd their Week 1 Ludi opponent in Division 5. By all accounts of who is banned this month, Clairvoyance is the best team still eligible. And what has this history of Low Inc taught us? The worst position that you can be in is being the best team eligible for Low Inc. Look, this team is set up for success. It doesn't matter what they do in this tournament or not, they are going to be a great team going forward. But last month, they didn't have a target on their back. This time around, they absolutely are. Everybody knows who Clairvoyance is, even the people that claim this tournament is boring because everybody else is here. Clairvoyance was just as strong as anybody that signed up last month. Saturday might not be a challenge for them, but we'll see how they handle Sunday, knowing that everybody's going to be gunning from them from the jump. And, of course, they're not going to win it. The team I'm about to mention is going to win it. The number 1 team on my top 10 is... Can any team claim to have improved as much as Ultra Krill has? Probably. I don't really know every single team. But no team has caught my eye more than Ultra Krill has. The reigning Beta Bracket champion. That's right. They didn't even make Alpha Bracket last month. They made Beta Bracket last month. They won it. Now find themselves in a situation to where they're not only threatening to win the tourney, in my opinion, they are the favorite to do so. They looked really good in the Squid for Palestinian Kids tournament. They are my favorite to win their Division 5 Ludi group. They won a competitive Beta Bracket last month. Also got 2nd place in Gamma the month before. So yes, I'm calling for a team that was in Gamma 2 months ago, Beta last month, to not only make Alpha Bracket this time around, they're going to win it, despite me cursing them by putting them at number 1. I think they've grown enough over the course of the last month to take this tournament by storm. You saw it here first. You heard it here first. Or it could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just guessing at these things. I don't write the script. Owen does. Now, if you do not like the place that I put your team in the top 10, if I didn't mention your team at all, if you're the Whip Rays, here's what you do. Do good this tournament. I always start off my Monday episodes of the Popcast after a Low Inc offering apologies when apologies are warranted. So prove me wrong, or if you're Ultra Krill, prove me right. That'd be cool. Just saying. With that being said, if you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, feel free to reach out to my socials below. Twitter, Mr_Popgun, Discord at Popgun, YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun. Let's go raid somebody. Brian the drummer seems like a safe person to raid. Sign up for Low Inc. There's still time to do so. Make sure you get your splash tags entered. That is not an invalid username. Okay. Did I not spell it right the first time? Looks like I did. I must have done something wrong. Enjoy the tournament this weekend.
Respect your TOs.
Don't forget that.